Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's webinar. This is Channel Vision editor Gerald Baldino here, and today we're very excited to feature Snom. Over the next hour, we'll be talking about some of the lessons learned from 2020 and how businesses have adapted to meet evolving communications needs. We're with today Snom Inside Sales Manager Sarah Boucher and Sales Engineer Simon Bradbrook. Please stay tuned for a Q&A session at the end of the webinar, and if you have any questions during the presentation, please submit them through the Q&A portal located at the bottom of the Zoom platform. At this point, I'd like to hand the webinar over to Sarah to begin. Sarah?
Thank you, Gerald. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today. I just want to give you a brief overview of Snom and VTech and how we merged, and then we'll have Simon go into the product. So Snom was one of the first in VoIP. We were founded in 1997 and introduced the first SIP phone, the Snom 100, in the year 2000. By 2001, the Snom 100 was actually the first mass-produced SIP phone in the world. So we do offer a high-quality, feature-rich phone, which is engineered in Berlin, Germany, with our own acoustic laboratory. When VTech acquired us, it was a great transition. VTech is a multi-billion-dollar company. We have control over the product from the manufacturing stage all the way through to distribution. And we are a one-stop shop, so we have desk phones, single and multi-cell, keyline emulation for your DECT, wireless conferencing, paging, broadcasting with PA1. Pretty much you can get everything right through us. Snom always offered a 2-year warranty on our desk phones, but now with the acquisition, we were able to go ahead and increase that to 3 years, and that is also on our DECT and conference phones. That does also include advanced replacement. So should something happen to one of the phones, you don't have to wait to go through the RMA process. We'll get it out to your customer right away. So we do have teams right here in North America. We have pre-sales, post-sales, tech support, and of course, Simon, our sales engineer, you're able to reach out to him as well. And we do have specific distribution partners. We don't allow just anyone to sell our product. That goes for distribution as well as the resellers. And with that, I will hand it over to Simon. Thank you.
So on to the start of our presentation with our entry-level phone. It's a basic entry-level phone, as I said before, that's ideal for that lobby or common area and a classroom as well. It's a simple 2-line phone, grayscale display, 2 programmable function keys, Ethernet ports offering only 10 by 10, and an option for an RJ9 port for your headset. And as we move on to our range of color desk phones. Now, one thing I will say about these phones, that the different sizes and shapes of these, the functionality across all 3 models is identical. So every single one of them's got an LCD color screen. Each one supports XML browsing. Programmable function keys, support for USB, which will run the support for the sidecars. We have a dedicated headset key, and also something quite unique is a solid-state hook switch. What this is basically less moving parts on the phone that can break. One of the things you always find with other manufacturers is that plastic hook switch will often break. On these phones, you find that we've got some tiny rubber feet, which are basically head sensors. So as soon as you lift that handset off the base, the call is active, and when you place it back, obviously the call is then ending. So going into detail a little bit more on each one of the models, the D717 is the entry-level color phone. It's a 6-line phone with 3 programmable function keys. Then we're moving up the range to the D735. This is a 12-line phone. It has 8 programmable function keys on the main screen, but there's 4 screens. So you've got a total of 32 programmable function keys. Then you get into the executive phone, which is the D785. Again, it's a 12-line phone, but this phone has a separate LCD display for 6 programmable function keys, and there are 4 pages of this. So it's a total of 24 programmable function keys. Accessories that will be supported on the phone, we have the 2 expansion units, the D7 and the D7C. D7's a basic 18 programmable multi-colored LED screen, and you can actually daisy chain 3 of these to either one of the color screen phones that I just referred to. The first is powered through a PoE directly from the phone, and the second is actually the second two. Have to be powered separately through AC power. Coming out now, we have the new LCD color display monitor expansion unit, the D7C. This will be available in distribution actually at the end of January. As you can see, it's a 6.8 color screen display. 3 pages, 16 programmable multicolored function keys. And again, as with the D7, you can daisy chain up to 3 of these to the phone. The first one can be powered by PoE, but again, the second 2 require AC power. Then we're getting on to unique features that come with these phones. As Sarah mentioned earlier on, Snom was purchased by VTech. One of the things that VTech's always been known for in the residential world was its DECT technology. We've brought that DECT technology into the business world, and we've introduced a DECT dongle, which is basically a USB dongle that will connect to the side of any one of these phones. And from that, you can power a headset, or one of the unique things about this is you can actually power the C52 conference speaker that you see the sign there. What this allows for, an ideal scenario for this is you've got the executive that requires a conference unit and a phone in his one office. With this, you can basically have 2 for the price of 1. Also, one of the other features that we offer is a Wi-Fi dongle. Again, it's USB, connects to the side of the phone. Easy to install. With everything that's been happening this year and when people setting up at home in home offices, this has actually been an ideal add-on to the solution as it is. Now we're going to get into the conferencing services. The C52 conference phone. Now, Snom's trademark is the removable desk mics that you can see there. Place these on the table and leave to converge back to the base for the highest audio quality. One of the things I will say is these microphones are not meant for carrying about. They are very sensitive, but not only that, as I said, the best thing to do with these is place them on the table where they will automatically converge back to the base for the optimum sound quality. The battery time on the microphones is up to 12 hours of talk time, fully charged. The base unit also has Bluetooth for headset and mobile pairing. And then also with the unit, you can expand this to 3 expandable speakerphones, the C52 SP, as we discussed before with the desk phones in the previous slide. 3 of these can be paired back to the unit. And what this does is it allows you to take a conference from a very small room into a much larger room. So if you think of like a large training facility where there might be, say, 40 or 50 people in the room, not everybody's leaning over the table trying to make themselves heard through the microphone. And now we have our C620, which is the wireless conference phone. This is completely wireless now. If you've got the office where they've got the nice marble table, they don't want to be drilling holes in there to run cables through the base of the table to power the unit, this is the ideal scenario for you. Leveraging again the DECT expertise that we have, the main conference unit is now a DECT slave back to the main PoE base that can sit at the side of the room. There's a charging port that the base station actually sits on so that you can charge it at the side of the room and again then move the main conference unit onto the middle of the table for the conference. Again, the trademark removable microphones are there. And again, we add support for 2 of the C52 expansion speakerphones. Now we're going to get into our mobility key line. Again, with the acquisition of Snom, VTech was able to bring that DECT technology into the business world. And this is where we'd like you to take advantage of this. Now, some of the unique features that we have with our M100 product are that they're dual mode. That unlike a standard DECT solution, cordless handsets, where each handset is tied to an extension. This solution can actually work in a dual mode where it actually offers that standard solution, but it also can work in a keyline emulation mode. We'll get into some of these unique features in the next few slides, but the basic system will support 8 SIP accounts. It can support 6 concurrent calls. We have a built-in multicast paging feature with this, so you can page across the office to meet other people. There's a privacy mode, and this will be explained more in detail with the keyline emulation, where it actually prevents people from barging in on calls. If you're in this solution where you've got a doctor's office, obviously a doctor's never going to want somebody to barge in on a call. And remote XML push, which is basically like you can push for a reboot. It's like a very basic level of device management. Each one of the base stations can support up to 10 of the wireless handsets, and the wireless handsets consist of a standard M10, which is a standard handset. You've then got the ruggedized M10R, but also the DECT set as well, which is the M18. These all look different, but because they're DECT slaves back to that base, the software in all 3 of these is actually identical. Now, if we get into the differentiation on each one of these solutions, as I talked about before, this system can actually work in dual mode. The first mode we're going to talk about is the multi-line solution. This is where each handset, each DECT set is tied back to its own account. So it's basically used for mobility and roaming around. But the unique features that you get with this system that you don't get with any other solution are the line keys on there. These line keys are actually provisionable as line appearances. So as you get with your standard DECT set at the moment, your SIP DECT set, you can actually have 4 line appearances on that cordless phone, which again is something you just do not see with any of the other manufacturers. Another thing that you don't see with the other manufacturers is that we can support 6 concurrent calls per handset. I think the limit on most of the competitors is 2 concurrent calls per handset. And then the second option for the M100 is the keyline emulation. This basically, with our DECT technology, we've actually been able to emulate an old-fashioned key system. And the way this works is quite simple, really. It's ideal for that small business or for a restaurant or retail. It's anywhere where the members of staff are not tied to a voicemail. However, they do need to be mobile, and they do need to be connected to communication and simply answer a phone call. The way this works, as I said, is 1 SIP account, and each one of the handsets shares access to that SIP account. So when a call comes in, all the handsets actually alert at the same time. And you can answer the call simply by pressing the flashing key on the line keys there. Then, as I said, we've emulated a complete old-fashioned key system, so it's simple. You literally press that call and place that call on hold, then that lamp will begin to blink. You can then use the built-in multicast paging to page across the office to say to pick up line 1. As I said, it's a simple installation, simple usage. There's no training necessary at all. It's very, very simple. And as I said before, we've got the built-in features such as the privacy mode. And this might, as I said, while you work, you may sell it into a doctor's office. The doctor's not going to want people to access their calls while they're on them. So basically, as they answer the call from the handset, they can set up privacy so nobody can barge in on that. And we got some give you some examples here about how quick and easy this solution is to install. We recently had a partner that installed a 400 plus location across the US at different restaurants. They had these up and running quite quickly. They were installing 25 systems a week. Now we're going to get into our multi-cell solutions. Multi-cell and single cell, I should add, actually. So each of these solutions that I'm going to discuss next has 6 interchangeable handsets. They support all the handsets that are supported across all solutions. We've got the M325. This is a single cell solution, and it supports up to 20 handsets and 5 concurrent narrowband calls. Then we get into our multi-cell solutions. We got the M700 multi-cell supporting 253 base stations and 1,000 handsets. And this can support 8 concurrent calls per base station in narrowband mode. For wideband, this is going to be halved, obviously. And then we got the new big brother, the new system that's just come out, which is the M900. And this supports up to 1,000 base stations, 4,000 handsets, and each base station can support 10 narrowband calls or 5 wideband calls. Each solution supports an M5 repeater, and each base station can support a maximum of 3 repeaters. I'm going to talk about the handsets. As I said before, all of these handsets are supported on all 3 of those products that we just previously reviewed. The M325 is a basic handset, very basic, non-color display, just simple to install. You get the M65 then going into a more of a business grade. Some of the added advantages of this is color screen, vibration, belt clip, and it's got an illuminated keypad. The M70, M80, and M85 are all ruggedized handsets. The M80 and the M85 are IP65 certified. Each of these come with a vibration alert, belt clip, illuminated keypad, a man-down alarm, and also Bluetooth. And then to the Rolls-Royce of this is the M90 handset. This again comes with Bluetooth. It comes with a vibration alert, belt clip, illuminated keypad, and the man-down alarm. But this solution is actually built with antibacterial plastic, so this makes it perfect for the healthcare verticals. The way that the antibacterial plastic is an ingredient that we have that we inject into the plastic molds when the phones are built. And basically what happens is it will kill off 99% of any bacteria that touches the surface. Now we get down to the guts of things, how to install that perfect solution with the multi-cell installation. To make any kind of installation like the multi-cell successful, it's all about how you place how you build the bricks around making the installation solid. One of the ways you have to do this is to make sure that you measured frequency power from base station to base station as you're building the network. We give you software built into each one of the handsets that basically allows you to do this. So you can measure the frequency and the power strength from base station to base station. So as you're building out your DECT mesh network, you can actually find that optimum position to place the next base station. And then again, we get back to the building blocks to make this all successful. Without our partners, we couldn't do any of this. As you can see, we're partnered with a lot of the big call control providers, as well as a lot of the large service providers. And this list is constantly growing. With the call control providers, initially, whenever we bring out a new product, we work closely with them to make sure that it works on the basis of the platform, and then move forward from there with the service providers. Hope I've not bored everybody too much. I'm now going to hand back to Sarah. She's going to close this off.
Thanks so much, Simon. So real quick here, I just want to go over our partner program. We put this in place a while back, and it's worked out really well for everyone. Again, we don't allow just anyone to sell our product. We want to make sure that the margins are high for all partners. So we do enforce MAP. So we just ask you to fill out a channel partner application. Once that's approved, typically within 24 hours, you'll get the authorization. I can forward it over to your distribution partner as well. And you'll be eligible to purchase NFR sample units, not for resale, at a rather large discount so that you can go ahead and test the product. Once you get those in-house, you can feel free to reach out to Simon. Once we approve your NFR, I'll go ahead and introduce you to him virtually so that you have his contact information, and we'll make sure that we help you get up and running. So we have something new that's worked out really well with our end users. We do have a trade and rebate program. So as long as your end user is purchasing a minimum of 5 phones, it goes up to a maximum of 200. They will get cash back in the form of a Visa gift card directly through a third party. It's very simple to use. It's very simple for them to input the information that's required, but they have to be purchasing through an authorized Snom reseller. So that's another advantage for you to go ahead and, get authorized with us. If we go to the next couple slides here, you'll see the dollar amount. So our 785, which is our executive, they get $20 back per phone, and these are mix and match. If we go a little further, you'll see the DECT, all the DECT handsets, as well as our conferencing devices. You get cash back on those as well. So as you can see, the C620, which again, as Simon had said, fully cordless, wireless, great, of course, for social distancing with the addition of the C52s, and your end user will go ahead and actually receive $35 back per unit there as well. Something separate that we have now, if your customer is actually replacing the old analog Polycom 2W, they'll receive a $100 rebate if they upgrade to the C620. There's no minimum required for that. It can be just one, it can be 5. But that's another added bonus that we just recently added in. Also, we offer device as a service. If your customer is looking to, purchase a lot of phones up front, they don't want to necessarily put the money forth. We go through CSC leasing, so that's something that we can give you information on, or you can go to their website as well. But everything is also on our website at snowmamericas.com. So again, low-cost entry, so that they can go ahead and get up and running, and help them get up and running without putting forth all that money up front. And I believe that is all I have. Here's our contact information. Feel free to reach out to me at any time if you have any questions. I handle the onboarding process, and then I will assign you to, a channel manager that will go ahead and be your main point of contact. But I'm always here kind of as backup. Once we can travel again, I'm sure they'll be out on the road a lot. So if you need something, you could definitely feel free to reach out to me. And then there's Simon's information as well.
All right. Thank you both for the great presentation there. It's very informative. Have a few questions for you. Just a reminder, you can submit questions at the bottom of the Zoom platform here. To start things off, talk to us about some of the new products that are coming down the pike at Snom.
Okay, actually, with the, we were talking earlier on about the mobility solutions. We do have a new next generation M100. As I said, it offers you that uniqueness of the key line. But one of the limitations we found with it is the range and expandability. So we're bringing out a new system called the M500, which is basically going to be a multi-cell SMB solution. It's going to allow for 6 base stations with 8 accounts on each base station. And what this does as well, it adds a little bit extra, because one of the limitations you get with DECT solutions are DECT repeaters. You can normally only support up to 2 concurrent calls per repeater zone, and that adds, different, different difficulties into the mix. So that's why we've gone for this multi-cell solution, because we can expand the range without limiting the amount of concurrent calls that you can have in one hit. So that's one of the things that we got coming out. And then later in the year, we've actually got a new range of desk sets that are going to be hitting the market. One of these is going to be a touchscreen, and some of them are going to have built-in Wi-Fi capability on them too.
All right, thank you. Next question for you. How many simultaneous calls can we have with the M700 and the M900?
Okay, so simultaneous calls with the M700 is 8 per base station, and that's narrowband. So obviously, if it's wideband, you halve that. And for the M900, it is 10 narrowband calls, concurrent calls per base station. Remember, those systems can work in multi-cell solutions, so you might have like a couple of hundred handsets, but they're tied to a specific base station, and as they roam around, they jump to the next base station. So the limitation or the amount of concurrent calls is tied to the base station itself.
Perfect.
One thing
Now,
to keep in mind too. Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off there.
No, that's okay. I just want to add that you can add up to 3 repeaters per base station if you wanted to repeat the signal and not necessarily add another base station. But you do want to keep in mind that anytime you add a repeater, it does take up one of the channels, so you do lose one of your simultaneous calls.
Okay, moving along here. Where do the end users send their old phones to collect the rebates?
So the nice thing is that we actually don't need to see the phones. They don't need to send them in. They don't need to take a picture. They simply need to actually notate which phone they're replacing. It doesn't matter if they're moving from analog POTS lines and they're switching to VoIP, or if they already have VoIP phones in place, as long as it is with another company, or if it's a Snom phone, it just has to be over a year since they purchased that one.
Okay, fantastic. Next question, can you explain XML browsing and what it's used for?
Yeah, sure. XML browsing, one solution I always think of that's working is if you've got a stockbroker and they want stock tickers running across the screen. This is basically what XML browsing is. We've got the ability where we can actually connect to a remote HTTP server, media server that would stream this information down to the phones. Like with our D785, the screen is quite large, so that's like the perfect for that. But it can be anything. You can have like weather reports just streaming across the screen.
Okay, great. Now, do you have any case studies for large scale installations for the M700 and M900 that you can share?
Absolutely, yeah, we can. If you give me the details of the people who want that, I can send them on to them. But we do have some case studies from a university and some large hospitals in Europe, actually, with multiple buildings where they've installed the M700 for their mobility solution.
Okay, and next question, can you please explain the advantages of adding another base station rather than just a repeater?
Absolutely. With a repeater, there's some limitations. I think I said before, you've got concurrent calls that a repeater can actually support at any one time is 2. The other thing with a repeater is when it's paired to a base station, it actually uses up one of the DECT channels, so you actually lose a handset at that point. With using Mulli-Cell, though, where you add another base station, you take those limitations out. And you basically give, it's not just that you can extend the range, it's just you've got roaming from handset. So a specific handset could be, for example, tied to base number 1. But as you move into the zone for base number 2, the handoff is completely seamless and the user wouldn't even know they've moved into another zone.
All right. Thank you for the Q&A here. That should wrap up today's webinar. Big thank you to Sarah and Simon, to the whole Snom team. Just a reminder, to access this webinar on demand, please head over to channelvisionmag.com/webinars and keep an eye out for a follow-up email from Channel Vision. Thanks. Stay safe out there, everyone. We'll see you next time.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Have a good day.